When I first read the script, the first feelings and the thought that I got in my mind and head was that this is amazing and epic.
처음 읽었을 때 이 스크립은 시간이 오랫동안 지나도 모두가 공감할 수 있는 큰 메시지와 이야기를 담은 작품이라고 생각했습니다.
When I first read the script, yes, somehow it was just a real feeling. Oh, I felt like I felt immediate connection to Sunja. It's a very rare feeling because you see, I get a lot of script from Korea, but this role to me was very different. I mean, as a Korean woman, and so I felt like I got to play this role. That's very rare feeling nowadays because I'm getting old, and then I'm never excited about getting new roles. And roles are all same to me nowadays. And then this one, especially, I don't know why, but I felt an immediate connection to this character. So I decided to play.
Yes, when I was in teenager or when I was in the school time, we had a time for the history. So yeah, we got to know a lot of things about the historical events, and like especially for our generations, we had a lot of documentaries, films, and series about the history. So yeah, I got to know that.
독일도 마찬가지겠지만 학교를 다닐 때 어느 정도의 우리의 역사에 관련된 수업을 따로 하긴 하거든요. 그래서 그때 배웠던 정도는 알고 있었는데 사실 그것도 이제 저한테는 되게 오래된 기억이기 때문에 또 현재를 그냥 살아가는 사람으로서 많이 신경을 안 썼던 부분이었던 것 같은데 이번 작품을 통해서 조금 더 다시 그때에 대해서 돌아보게 됐고 또 혹시나 우리가 또 모르는 어떤 사건들이 있었는지 찾아보게 됐던 것 같습니다.
The process, I had this audition for like 3 or 4 months. So like when I first hear that I got to do this audition from the productions, and then I read the audition script, I was so amazed only by the audition script. And then when I got the call back, I got to read the book. And as soon as I read the book, I just thought that I have to do this and I can do this. So yeah, that's from that mindset, I just had like audition for 3 or 4 months.
저는 이 전체적인 오디션에서 조금 늦게 참여하게 된 케이스로 알고 있어요. 그래서 저 같은 경우에는 오디션이 어느 정도 진행되고 나서 한국 프로덕션을 통해서 오디션 제의를 받았고 그래서 그때 이제 접해서 오디션을 보게 됐던 케이스였던 것 같습니다.
I love casting, but this casting was intense. Just for the principal cast members, it took about 6 months. We did a search all over the world, not just in Korea and Japan. And what we said is we're just going to find the best actors for these characters, period, no matter what. I don't care if they were big superstars, if they're someone who'd never been in a TV show or film before. And also the challenge is the language component. You have a character like Solomon. Solomon speaks 3 languages. Who is our unicorn? So there were many sleepless nights being like, are we ever going to find our Solomon? Are we ever going to find our Sunja? And I'm just so grateful that we found these extraordinary actors.
Yeah, it was a wide search. There was a real, Soo had a real idea of how that casting would go. And it was maybe the biggest, certainly the biggest first decision, because all of these roles were critical, and we did a very wide search. A lot of amazing Korean actors we loved, were a part of it. But yeah, it was a pretty intense search for the right cast.
Well, first of all, I really tried to be present, and I really wanted to focus on her flows of emotions, and I tried to follow up her situations and try to understand her obstacles that she is confronting, and how moreover, like how she's dealing with it and how she survived and how she adapts to the new environment. I just wanted to focus on Sunja herself.
Well, read the script first, and then I tried to learn more about my character, so I bought the book next day, and I read the novel in 2 days, and then it's well written, and then 4-generation story. So I was thinking about my mother. My mother passed away 2 years ago, and then she's been through that time. She was living in that time, you know, the occupied by Japanese. So I was thinking about her, and then usually when I prepared the role, I was always thinking about, okay, if I were her, how would I do it? How could I do it? Or something like that. So actually, except the reading novel, I didn't prepare any special things. Usually that's my way to just approach the role.
Well, because their relationship are very complicated and very intense, Minho and I got to had a lot of conversations to feel relaxed and comfortable on the set. But as it is very complicated, we got to had a lot of debates or conversation about our characters and our scenes and the situations and more of like personal things. So yeah, that's what we prepared for, like portraying our relationship.
I think in quite a few ways, probably the biggest change is the book is told linearly in beginning, middle, and end. And you know, something that I was interested in exploring further was that conversation, that dialogue between generations. So I've cut it so that Sunja's storyline in the past always cross-cuts with Salman's storyline in the present day, and the two stories are very present with one another.
Definitely the intercutting of different timelines. It's not linear, you know, and it's also an expansion of the world of the book, and giving it space to also, you know, travel into different territories that maybe the book didn't think to. So like I thought it was that way a way to keep it very engaging.
Yes, for me, I remember the day that I got to perform as a mother for the first time on the set. So I got to consider a lot, and I got to have a lot of conversation with directors and writers, because I've never been mother before, obviously. So yeah, that was the challenging moments that I had before.
As an actor, most challenging, it's not that role, because I could do anything for that role, describe that role, or you know, but the atmosphere, you know, like when you're in the trailer while waiting and that kind of thing was it's hard to just waiting in the trailer. So every time I was complaining about how long should I wait this is agony.
Well, there's a few, but I would say probably the language component was hard, right? I don't speak Japanese. I don't understand Japanese. I can understand Korean. I don't speak Korean very well. But, you know, I'm writing the scripts in English and then handing them over, and now I realize what an art form translation is. It really is. And so a lot of it is trusting the translators that they're going to take this line and give it the same meaning, the same power. And then just the translation on set, speaking with so many people of different languages, and then even in editing, having translators. So all throughout this process, the language is always negotiated. And in the end, it was an incredible experience, but it was challenging.
Yeah, there's just so much, when you're doing a smaller film, you can decide where you're going to spend your all your time on and what, and in this case, it was just so ambitious throughout. There isn't really a moment, that doesn't require everything to be, firing at once. So to be responsible to execute all of that and still try to create that cinematic value. I mean, I think it's always just about the time and the constraints and really trying to capture something that you feel is worthwhile, but that's not unlike any type of directing, if you really care about what you want to capture. So.
Well, oh God, there are a lot of scenes that I would love to choose, but there is two scenes actually where I enter to the boarding house and the old woman in the boarding house chat, and like these chatting scenes are my favorite scenes. And also there is a moment that in the raining boarding house, I just imagine Hansu for a very long time, so she cannot continue her just normal life thinking about him. So those two are my favorite scenes.
선자를 처음 만나는 씬이 좀 기억이 많이 남는 것 같아요. 단순히 어떤 이성에게 느끼는 호기심 정도가 아닌 그냥 사람 대 사람으로서 느낄 수 있는 가장 강렬한 순간을 느꼈다라고 생각을 해서 그 씬이 많이 기억에 남는 것 같습니다.
That was it wasn't on the novel. She means my character. She went back to Korea after she get old, maybe after 6 years later or something. But it wasn't on the novel. But I thought that was the Soo Hugh, the showrunner, put that scene, and I thought I liked that scene very much. I'm sure she wanted to go back home and she wanted to feel her homeland. When she left, maybe she was like 16 or 17, she left Korea. So then especially I was looking for my father's grave, and she liked to feel the ocean when she used to dive and catch the shell. And her father was so proud that she could hold the breath long time. And so that scene was just, still I remember that scene while I'm playing. And it was almost the first day, just front of grave, father's grave, and then how would I do it if she saw her father's grave? I tried my best. I'm not sure I did it all right. So that scene I remember still.
I mean, there's so many. You're right. There's so many. I mean, filming the title sequence was just so much fun. It was amazing. It was, 2 days, very run and gun. We didn't have the full crew because other sets were shooting, and just to see the actors smile and dance, that was really incredible.
One of my favorites is at the end of the pilot, the first episode, when you're at the fish market. And again, the cinematography and the presentation of a huge, powerful character to come. I won't reveal more than that, but if you watch the end of the first episode, it really tells you where the show is moving. I have so many favorite scenes, to be honest. I can sit here all day long and tell you, but that one really stands out to me. And then in the fourth episode, there's this incredibly moving, the whole episode is so moving to me, but about a mother and her daughter and that tale, that it was very emotional for me.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I agree with Teresa, there's almost too many to choose from, but there was something about the ending of 4 had this incredible energy around the landowner, the scene of just, you're in this great conference room, and is she going to sign, and the formality and the expectation, and this kind of secret conversation she's almost having with Solomon as she's deciding what to really do and makes a choice not to do it, and the whole thing blows up. And then he dances, and then you cut to his grandmother, and she's in the rain too, having her own cathartic moment. And so it's both a total mess and fiasco, which is, the deal's blown, his life is kind of ruined, but in the same way, he's also released from it. And then she's released too. And I think that's sort of the point of the show, which is like tragedy and triumph kind of are more interconnected than we want to acknowledge. Joy and heartache are more interconnected. And so even though his life is kind of falling apart, you're actually inspired as because he's also free and released, to be himself in that moment. And
I have one more.
Yeah.
In episode 5, the scene where there's a naming of somebody, and that naming in all this trauma and suffering and hardship that the family goes through, it's these little rituals that families have, that cultures have, that brings back the sense of ownership and civility, even within the hardest times. I thought that was so poignant and so beautiful. It's the naming of these traditions.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's the most simple ones, where two people are sitting across from each other, and you can really let their performances and the layers of their emotion to kind of reveal itself, and just set up for that moment, and capture it and attend to the lighting and the composition and just let them have that moment. I think for me, it was always surprising because we had big, some big set pieces, but how compelling I felt those moments would be, because you were moved emotionally even as you were filming it, and that always says something.
Well, for me, it's a very kind of like a personal things, but every time I go, before I go to the set, I kind of did a meditate. So as soon as I wake up. So yeah, those are things I try to relax and try to imagine the whole scenes or try to feel everything.
Yeah, early days actually. So 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, I had read the book, and this incredible multi-generational story of Koreans in Japan. And I was working with Soo Hugh. I represented her, and I shared the story with her, and she just immediately understood it and brought it to life. And I was also representing Michael, and Michael had found the book as well, and we ended up collaborating all together. But it goes a little bit further back. I heard about first the story of Koreans in Japan who had remained in Japan after Japanese occupation of Korea and also World War II. But it wasn't a really well-known history. Growing up Korean, you know about Japanese occupation, of course, but I didn't know about the larger Korean diaspora. So ultimately, we all collaborated and decided that it was a good time to bring the story to life. But at this time, almost 4 years ago, there were really very few all Asian-led casts or stories. It was, a big studio film was about to release Crazy Rich Asians. It was a few years before Parasite won the Oscar. So it was a very interesting time. We felt we weren't sure if it was going to get made, but we really believed it could and it would. And so, ultimately it was Soo Hugh's incredible vision that we felt even more confident that we can move it forward.
Yeah. I first read the book about 4 years ago, and I just thought it was an extraordinary book. And more importantly, while reading the book, something cracked open in me, right? Obviously, I did not live in 1931. That wasn't my experience, but it was the experience of my grandparents for sure. And it was, I think it's something that's coded into my spiritual DNA. And so it felt like a homecoming.
I'd read the novel as well, and was blown away by it. Just was both. It, I knew a little bit about the Japanese story, but very little. And so you had a series of complex relationships to it. Both just moved by it as a story unto itself, and this amazing saga of this family and Sunja and her journey over multiple generations. My own personal story, my father was actually born in Berlin. He and his family fled in 1939. They went to Panama for 2 years, then went to the United States. And then my father was actually stationed in Korea in the early 60s as a captain in the US Army. And so I'd grown up hearing these stories, and you can't, as a child, even understand it over 26 years, like that sweep. And so it was deeply personal. It brought up all these memories of my own. And so I think our impulse was both the excitement and how meaningful it'd be to tell this specific story about Koreans, about Zainichi, Korean American experience as well. But inside the story, it was an incredibly universal one. You know, there's, in all of our backgrounds, there are these sagas, these mythic tales of our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and they're inaccessible to us. And so when Teresa introduced me to Soo, and Soo and I sat down and I heard what Soo's vision was. Soo, her vision was, this isn't the past, you know? She had this great idea about past and present being in dialogue. That was the big alteration from the book. That had not been really seen before. She often talked about Godfather 2 in this regard. And so the idea of bringing the past and making it present, right? So the generations are always in dialogue, and stylistically, it shouldn't feel formal, it shouldn't feel rigid, it shouldn't feel like they're different. You should be in this environment and world with them and experience the story as if you were them. And so this was, we were moved by it. And yeah, we thought we could take this, you know, that this trilingual project that Hollywood wasn't necessarily demanding at the time. The three of us had this crazy vision and maybe denial about how difficult that would be, and we're able to power through. And unfortunately, Apple and we hope the global audiences agree.